software. That validation will be having two aspects. Okay, one will be falling under the IT companies. Okay, and the other one will be falling under the pharma or life sciences companies. Okay, so what exactly happened in IT company? What exactly happened in pharma company? That we need to understand, because the job roles will be available in both these particular organizations. It will be available in IT companies also. It will be available in pharma also. So over here in IT, we look into all the aspect. Okay. But over here, we only look into the GXP or regulatory requirements. Okay. So over here, if you see this particular framework, so this pharma company, when they need a software, okay, when they need a new software, for that, they used to develop a document called as URS. Okay. This document is called as User Requirement Specification. Okay. So over in this document, they'll be defining that what kind of software they need, what will be the type of the software, okay, what all the features, what all the functionalities they needed in that particular software. Okay, so this is more of a document. Okay, it is an approved document. Okay, so these documents, they'll be defining each and everything with respect to the kind of or the type of software they need. Okay, now these particular document, once it will be designed or developed by the pharma companies, okay, this particular document will go to IT company. Okay, this document will be sent to the IT company. Okay, now these IT companies, what exactly they'll be doing? They'll be doing the analysis with respect to that particular requirement. Okay, so what is there in this user requirement specification? All the functionalities or all the functions, what exactly need to be defined, those data will be there in this particular document. Okay, this URS document. Now this URS document will be gone to IT companies. Now IT companies' responsibility is to look into this particular requirement. So they'll go through that, they'll do the analysis, and then finally they'll come to a conclusion that what is the kind of software this pharma company is looking. Okay, so all the analysis they'll be doing. Okay, so after the analysis, they'll be doing a process called as IRA. Okay, this is called as initial risk assessment. Okay, so why we are performing this? This is very important. The risk assessment is also a part of ICH Q9. Okay, it is again another guideline. So why this is important? Because when you are bringing a new system, so definitely with respect to that new system, there will be a lot of risk associated. What is the risk? Because you are building something new. Okay, so when you are building something new, there will be something that you are not knowing that whether it will be implemented or not. Okay, or maybe if it is implemented, how perfectly it is implemented, that we need to check. So that will happen over here in IRA document. Okay, so if there will be any risk associated with your product, that risk will be mitigated over here itself in the initial stage. Okay, so why we are doing the risk mitigation? So that end of the day, you'll not be facing any problem with respect to your product. Okay, so all the risk associated with the product will be mitigated before the start of product itself. Okay, so that is not like that the 100% risk will be mitigated over here, because risk will be there in the development stage also, or every different steps there will be risk associated. So with respect to that, what we will be doing is we'll be mitigating whatever the possible risks are there in the initial stage. We'll try to mitigate that. Okay, so after mitigating all the risk, the next step is the design step. Okay, so this design step over here, designing will be done by the software designer. Okay, so what is this design? So this design includes how the software will look. Okay, also we'll be seeing that how the algorithm of the functionalities work. Okay, so you have any application in this world, like let's consider, I'm just going to give you an example of WhatsApp. Okay, in WhatsApp you are able to change your profile password, right? So what exactly you are doing? You are going to your profile picture and then selecting some other picture, and then it will get uploaded. So a very in a minute of second, okay, in a fraction of second, what exactly you'll be able to do? You'll be able to change the password, or you'll be able to change the profile picture. You have a Gmail account, in that you are going and you are changing the password. You are able to send mail to someone. You are just putting the correct email ID and trying to send a mail. Okay, so all these are what? All these are functionality. So how this functionality is working? Okay, you never have scenarios that you are trying to upload a profile picture and something else has uploaded. It will never happen. Until and unless it is not human error, the system will not be doing anything wrong on its own. Okay, you're sending the mail until unless you are not sending the mail, it will not go to the person to whom you are sending. All this is happening because the functionality, the code is written in that way. Okay, so the functionality, the design will be done by this design team. Okay, so this designing will be done with respect to the requirement you are given. Okay, now based upon this, what exactly we need to do? We need to do the development. Okay, so development means what? The code will be written. The software developers will write the development code. Okay, means they'll be writing the programming code. Okay, with respect to your software. Okay, now once that is done, then over here, the third step, the entire software will be developed. Okay, at the end of this particular third step, the software will be developed. Now, what is the major role over here? So, major role comes in the picture is the validation part. Okay, so to understand this, we need to understand this entire process. Okay, so over here, we are going to validate the software. Why we are doing the validation? Why we are validating the software? To check if there is any issue, any bugs or any problem, any functionality issues there in our software or not. If there is any issue or any challenges with respect to your software, then the software will go back to this development stage and it will be fixed again. Okay, by the development team. And again, it will be sent for testing. Okay, so we are again going to test the software. Okay, now at the end of the day, there will be a scenario that all the validation activity will be completed. Now your software will not be having any challenges. Okay, there won't be any problem in your software. Okay, now once you find out that there is no problem in the software, then the software will go for deployment. Deployment is shipment, okay, or delivery. So who will be the one who will be accepting this delivery? The pharma companies, because the requirement has come from the pharma company. The order has come from the pharma company. So once the validation will be done, then this particular product will go back to the pharma company. So I told you, pharma also do validation, IT also do validation. Why IT is doing? IT is doing just because of Part 820 regulations. So 820 says that whenever a manufacturer is doing or developing a software, then it is their responsibility to validate this entire system. Okay. So once they have validated, then next step is that when the product will go back to pharma company. So pharma company also has to ensure that whatever the software is validated by the IT company, the same software is working fine when it comes to the pharma companies or not. Okay, and then also they have some regulatory requirement. So based upon that, they'll be doing the revalidation for that. Okay, so once that particular product is validated again over here in pharma companies, then comes the next step is the maintenance. So now assume that you have got a new software. The software is version 1. Okay, now you are using all your process into software now. Tomorrow you want to add some new features into this particular software which you are already using. Okay, so these possibilities of changing, addition, deletion, upgradation, or enhancement in the software, everything will be done in this maintenance phase. Okay, and in the industry, whatever the software you are using in day-to-day life, that is all under the maintenance phase. So always remember, when you use the software, you are using the software in this maintenance phase only. Okay, before that you cannot use the software. Got my point? Now, next is under the maintenance, you are using the software. Now, in case if you need any addition or deletion of the functionality, we wanted to add new features, more new features to be added in the software. So every single thing will be happening over there in this particular software is going to happen in maintenance phase. Now, assume that you use this particular software for 10 years. Okay. Now, after 10 years, that particular software is no longer in need. Okay, I mean, some changes happen in the regulatory requirement, or maybe like the testing for that particular process, or like the process itself is stopped. Okay, you no longer need that particular software. Okay, maybe some advanced software has come, so this software is no longer in use. So what exactly we do? We do finally the decommissioning. Okay, decommissioning is removal. Okay, removal, or also call it as retirement of system. Okay, so what we do? We retire this particular system. Means we remove this particular system from the environment. Which environment? From the life sciences environment. Okay, from life sciences industry. Okay, so again, there is a full process in there, how we need to retire the system. It's not like that tomorrow you don't need the software, you went and you have deleted the software. No, you can't do that. Why? Because you are handling all these softwares are used for GXP process. I have already explained you GXP process, what is good. X is a variable component depending upon the domain of the industry, okay, and P is practices. So all the good practices data is getting stored, okay. The data is stored related to drug analysis, okay, something related to medical history of the patients. So you cannot delete the data as such, okay, because there might be a chances that at the very next moment when you have deleted the data, that data can be asked by any regulatory authorities for any of their process, okay. So that's the reason we do not delete the data. Okay, you might have heard or you might have seen something related to PV industry, right? What exactly happened in PV industry? We look into the drug safety, right? We look into the drug safety part. I know might have few of you are aware about this particular industry. So we do the drug safety. Okay, now let's assume that a product is already, let's consider there is a tablet which is already there in the market. So now as a pharma company, I have developed this particular product in 2020. Okay, and now I'm just making every new batch and selling it into the market. Okay, this particular product is into the market. Now it is 2023. Now in 2023, you started receiving all the adverse events with respect to your product. Okay, and now regulatory bodies, they wanted to go through that, and then they are looking into your product and they're finding that this product is not compatible. This product is having some problem and it is having a lot of side effects. So with respect to that, what exactly they'll do, they will just go back and then they'll ask you the data, the very first manufacturing data, the method validation data, the product validation data, all those data they'll be started asking by this pharma company who have developed this software. So you cannot delete the data as such. So you can, now you can relate that what are the implications. Okay, now handling the data in the manual format is also like a big task, because sometimes it happens that, or maybe you have heard that some particular medicine is banned after 10 years. Okay, so in that context, we need to store some data with respect to that for 10 years. Now, if the data is in manual form, it is in paper form, difficulties come over here that how you can store the data for 10 years. There might be chances that anything could happen, right? Earthquake can come, okay, or maybe there will be a lot of challenges with respect to storing physical data. So to avoid everything, we brought computer systems, okay. So there, all the data is there on the cloud servers or maybe storage server. So there we can store the data for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You might have seen your photos are stored in Google Photos for almost 10 years back. The photos are still there, right, on Facebook. How this is possible? Because this is only possible because they have the cloud storage. Okay, on that they're saving the data and they're keeping the data as such. So after 15 years, next 15 years also, if you wanted to pull out the data, you'll be able to do that. Okay. Getting my point? So these all have the reason, that's the reason why we are bringing computer system. Now, when you are bringing computer system, it is our responsibility to do the validation. Okay. If you are not able to get this particular process, I'll just give you a very simple example. Consider, try to understand this. This is very simple. Consider that you have a piece of land. Okay. I'll just explain this entire process in one go. With this simple example, you'll be able to correlate. You have a piece of land. I wanted to make a 4-floor building over here. So what is the first thing you'll be doing? The very first thing you'll be doing is that you cannot build on your own, right? Try to understand my point. You cannot build on your own. So the very first thing what you'll be doing the planning. Okay, what exactly I need to build on this particular piece of land. Okay, so once you're done with the planning, then you are going to note it down. Okay, I need 4-floor house. Every floor there should be 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 4 BHK or something like that. Okay, so you have decided. So you are just going to make a document that what exactly you need. That is your requirement, right? Consider that document as your URS. Okay, now you have the URS. Okay, now what will be the risk associated with it? So risk will be the economic condition, your financial condition, how much time it is going to take, when will be the delivery date. Okay, whether you are making the building. So with respect to that, whatever the risk will be there, that will be analyzing and then making the URS document. Now, what will happen to this URS document? This one will go to someone called as architect, right? What architect is going to do? So he has gone through that you need 4-story building. So with respect to 4-story building, he needs to look into that, the pillaring part. Okay, how strong the pillaring should be there so that the building should stay for at least 100 years or 99 years. Okay, so architect is going to do what? He is going to do the designing. For what exactly you need, based upon your requirement, he is going to do the designing. That designing is nothing but over here is the design. So this is done by over here in software, it is going to be done by the design architect. The same over here happened with the architect. Now, this architecture is done. So this architecture is not going to build the house. Definitely, right? So who will be building the house? The contractor. So the contractor over is nothing but the developers, the software developers. How the software will be developed, then you are going to do the development over here. The contractors and the laborers, they'll be working to build your house. How they are building the house? Based upon the design which is developed by the architect. How architect has designed this particular thing? He has designed based upon your URS. Correct? Now, next is validation. So this particular validation will be always done by, I told you, right? The validation will be done by these two teams, right? One will be the IT, the one will be the pharma. So consider this IT team is nothing but your architect, okay? The engineers, okay? They'll be doing the validation that whatever they have designed, whatever they have discussed, based upon that they have delivered or not. Why? Because if it is not delivered in that way, there might be chances that you'll not get money from the client. Will not be getting the money from the customer because you have just misused it, or you just have misunderstood this particular thing and you have developed something else. Okay, so the complete validation will be done, okay, at every single step when you are developing it. Once the complete validation is done, okay, at the design development part, then the final validation will be done by the engineers. Why the validation will be done? To check that whatever the complete building is structured, this is matching with respect to the design or not. So exactly as per the design, the final product should look like, because you have taken the reference from this, right? Now, as a customer, this is the pharma company, okay? Now, pharma company is going to do the validation. So what validation he'll do? He is going to take this URS document. Means whatever he have asked, now he'll go and he'll check that whatever I have asked, whether everything is there or not. I asked for 2 BHK, I asked for 3 BHK, I asked for 4 storage building, I asked for ground parking, I have asked this, that, everything. So he is going to check with respect to the URS document, right? Next step is once you are going to say okay, then the product will be going for delivery. Means it will be handed over by this particular team, and now under the maintenance you'll be using this particular house. Okay. Now, if you need any changes in this house, again, where you need to go? You need to go to this architect, okay, or the engineering team. So you are going to have some modification or innovation with respect to that. You don't want wall over here, you want open door over here or something like that. So all those changes, all those modifications, modifications could be negative also, positive also. You wanted to remove one flat or one room, okay. You wanted to add extra room. So the same way for softwares, you wanted to remove some functionality, add some functionality, enhance some functionality. So all those processes will be handled by this development team again. Okay, now let's assume that you stayed in this building for 99 years. Now the building condition is not good. Okay, I mean, let's consider that this can demolish on its own by any moment. Then what exactly you'll be doing? You'll be vacating the house, right? You'll evacuate and then we'll be demolish this building. The same thing happened over here into this decommissioning stage also. When the software is no longer in use, okay, when there is no need of this particular software, we just remove this particular software. So this is going to be the entire life cycle. How many of you understood this now? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So moving ahead, see, I'll tell you one thing very frankly. This particular course is not going to complete it in 4 weeks. I have just got the 4-week time, so I'm just wrapping so many things at a time. Definitely, this course is of 2 months. Okay, but as it is suggested by the management to bring it into third piece. So that's the reason I'm doing over here like this. Okay. So if you understood this is the entire process to how exactly the softwares will be coming into the market. Let's consider that you are taking training, right, in Cliniminds. So you might be using some LMS tool, okay, where you are getting your training done. All your training on a daily basis, it is getting recorded. Some learning management system is there. So that software also is developed with this respect only. This is the framework every software in this world will be used, okay, to develop, to design, to validate. This is the process flow. Okay. Now over here today we are going to learn about a very important topic. Okay. So that we need to understand. I'll directly go there. Okay. So this is something which we need to understand. Okay, with respect to the categorization of softwares. Okay. As I told you that every software will be categorized. Okay, whatever the softwares will be using in our industry. Okay, in our life sciences industry, it is categorized on different bases. Okay, so The categorization of softwares, the validation approach, the manufacturing approach will be dealt in this particular guideline that is called as GAMP guideline. Currently, what we are following is GAMP guidelines, GAMP 5, second edition. Okay, so these particular guidelines says that how you need to develop a software. Okay, so when you are bringing a new software into the market, so how exactly the software needs to be validated, software need to be developed, that will be dealt in this particular guideline. Okay. Also, it categorizes softwares based upon the usage, based upon the nature of the software. It is categorizing the different category of softwares. Okay, so this good manufacturing practices was founded in 1991. Before that, there was no concept of it. So it was founded in 1991, and then finally, what exactly from where this guideline is coming? So this guideline is coming from International Society for Pharmaceutical Engineering. So this is a committee. It's an independent organization, and this organization has got the thing. So why they have got? Because regulatory